Hello and welcome to another episode of the Golden Hour Podcast, brought to you by the Polar Pro Studio. I'm your host, Dave Mays, and today's guests, with an S, are Jake and Becky from the YouTube channel White House on the Hill. Now, on the White House on the Hill channel, with, by the way, over 700,000 subscribers, Jake and Becky have built a channel all about homesteading, being self-sustaining, and raising a family on a farm. They have all sorts of exotic animals, milking cow, chickens. On their channel, they teach people how to do beekeeping, how to raise these animals, and the overall just experience of raising a family on a farm. They have about a dozen videos with over 1 million views, and one in particular from just a couple months ago that has over 10 million views. So Jake and Becky really know what they're doing when it comes to YouTube content. They've been posting regularly now for the last 4 years, and coming off of my interview with Josh Satin, another farming YouTuber, I was excited to do another conversation with a completely different type of creator. So without any further ado, let's listen in on my conversation with Jake first, and then his wife Becky joins us about halfway through this interview. Once again, I'm Dave Mays. Enjoy this podcast.
So you do the intro thing. You do that like after the fact, right?
Yeah. As soon as we're done with our interview, I shoot the intro because then I'll like reference what we talked about, you know?
Right.
I don't know.
Tough right now. Now would be fun to go ahead and guess what we're going to talk about and say, wait till you hear this stuff we talked about, because oh my gosh, it's all the secrets to YouTube.
100%.
And Dave happened to say it, and I didn't say anything. He's happened to tell the secret, and it just happened to be in this podcast. Good thing you tuned in. Good thing you're subscribed to the Golden Hour Podcast channel, because you're not going to want to miss it.
I think that's my intro. That's my intro right there, Jake. Thank you.
All right.
So I'm here with Jake from the channel White House on a Hill. We're going to have Becky, his wife, join us later in this podcast. But Jake, thank you for being on the podcast today. Your channel has over 700,000 subscribers. I'm looking at now, 731. Let's get it to 800.
That's pretty wild, isn't it?
Get it to 1 million. You'll be at 1 million before you know it, man. It's pretty amazing.
Before I know it, but it gets to a point. Thankfully, you get to a point in YouTube where I can just not really pay attention to it. There was a time when I would like refresh my subscriber count like every 5 minutes because I was so obsessed with seeing it go up 1 or 2 people. And
yeah,
man, that really controlled my life there for a long time. So thankfully I can just enjoy making content now. And it'd be crazy to see that amount of people in front of me. It'd be way too stressful. Gosh. Usually I just think about you have your fans that have been with you since the beginning. And those are the people that I think about when I go out and film. I think about, I'm talking to Rick from Ohio, and I'm talking to Bill in New York, and some of these guys that have been with me since the beginning. My first subscriber was like this guy named William. I think he was from Washington.
Nice. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if he still watches, but that's who I think about when I go film a video, not the 700,000 people around the world.
That's a great tactic to use when you're shooting, because if you just imagine that person, behind the lens, you can really kind of think about it in a more conversational manner rather than performing in front of a camera or whatever. And I think that's why your content is so relatable. That's why so many people love it, is that it has this really authentic feel. And it's something we were just talking about before we started recording, and something that I know that you work hard on.
We talked about all the best stuff. We talked about all the best stuff right off the bat.
It sucks that we weren't rolling, because we basically did the whole show before we started here. But no, what's that balance? I feel like YouTube, there's different types of levels of quality or content or whatever. Like some people focus on the gear, some people focus on the story, some people just do daily vlogs and just kind of crank them out and have basically no editing in it. Like, what's the balance for you with making it feel authentic, raw, and real, but also the fact that you're shooting on a DSLR with a decent quality microphone, and you want to make sure your edit is high quality and stuff like that? How have you found that balance for you?
Well, for a long time, I was just obsessed with quality and gear. And then at some point it was getting in the way of me creating. And so there's channels in our genre that'll just film daily, and they'll use a DSLR too, but they'll film short bits here and there, and just whatever they come up with. Maybe there's less of the storyline when you're in a daily type situation. And then there's high quality where they're consumed more with the equipment they're using, and so the storyline is not as good, but they may be beautiful to watch. And so over the past couple of years, I've been so focused on the storyline that I don't let what camera I'm using get in the way. Like I'm working on an edit right now with bees, and some days I had the good camera with me. Sometimes I just had my iPhone with me. If I need to get up close to the bees, I'll go grab the GoPro.
Yeah,
I've got like the old hang on. I've got the old Insta 360 here.
Yeah.
I think I used right at the beginning to do a little hidden camera when I like go get the package from the UPS guy outside when he came and hand me something. So usually it's just like I just try to grab something to capture for the tool.
Yeah.
Just to capture the footage, and I don't worry about the quality. From time to time I'll try to upgrade things because
Sure.
like the Insta 360 seems super grainy. I did just win an Insta 360 Go 2 from there.
You won
they were
it.
Going like I won it, I guess, from like a giveaway they were doing. But
that's a good way to get influencers to use your products. Just have a fake contest and then just you won it.
Probably
right?
because I did comment. It was on their YouTube video, and I commented from White House on the Hill, and they're probably like, "Oh yeah, we want this guy to have the camera." But so I'm cool with that because I bought way too many of these because I've been doing. This Insta 360 has been my secret for making pigeon videos. And so
it's so small.
I was in a search. Do I have one of these little cameras? I had one of these little cameras. I don't even have this one out of the box yet, but this was like a tiny little $20 thing off of like eBay, and it's just a tiny little cube.
Oh, cool.
And so it would fit on a pigeon, but then and so we'd actually have them fly and have the footage, but the footage was so shaky. And then after going through like 2 or 3 different types of cameras, like I found this one. And so I had to figure out how to attach it to the pigeons going in here and then gluing this to a bird harness, and then getting this on here and then screwing this on here. And then I even had to like train the birds because it does add a little weight to their front. And so I had to get it at a certain point. And so it's a ton of fun to watch them fly with it. I watched some videos of like eagles flying on YouTube, and it's like it's as elegant as you can imagine. I mean, they just are floating, and it is not like that with pigeons. Pigeons are like they're just so wild and crazy. Yeah. And so it's not how I imagined it would be, but it's been a lot of fun going through that journey to try to figure out how to film our pigeons because I hadn't seen that on YouTube. So that was something fun that we tried this past year.
Now, I can kind of tell with our conversation right now, you're enjoying this because this isn't something that you talk about regularly on your channel, how it's made, right?
No, I never wanted to, like, I didn't want to give away the secret because I had a lot of pigeon people that wanted to figure out how to film.
Pigeon people.
There's people that raise pigeons, and I guess that's where people probably have a love-hate relationship with me and our channel because there's people that raise a specific animal. And sorry, I'm kind of deterring off your question here. We'll get back to that.
No, it's fine. That's what podcasts are for.
So we have people that will raise a specific animal that will find our channel. So we hatched out emus, and we started to have all of these people from Australia. It's their official bird of Australia. These Australians would find our channel, and they were upset because they have emus in the wild in Australia, but they're not allowed to own them. And so they were really fascinated, but they're also kind of angry that Americans could own emus. And then we hatched out. We can also
own guns. So
yes,
they can get over that.
If you want to talk about guns, we can go that route too, because I have a lot of fun with that. And then I don't put it on the channel though. But then I hatched out peacocks, hatched out peafowl. And people from India found our channel and really loved our channel because they have them in the wild, but they're not allowed to touch them or hold them or anything. And so they're fascinated with us with peafowl. And so the people loved it. And then now it's like pigeons. You have the pigeon people that love their pigeons, and they fly their pigeons. And so we touch on like a little bit of a bunch of subjects that people that are really passionate about it. I've seen I'm in like some Mandarin duck groups. We raise these fancy waterfowl called Mandarin ducks, and
Jeez, man,
Um,
that's amazing.
and they're beautiful. And so I've been like in these Facebook groups, I'll go back and search for like our channel name, and then I'll
Uh-huh.
find all these people that hate on us because we're like we touch on so many things, but they're like passionate about this one type of animal or bird. And so
Yeah.
it does make me think about it, like how can I become better at taking care of each type of animal. I don't ever want to get so many animals that I can't care for each one.
Yeah.
And that's where some channels that are we're more in the homesteading niche, I think, than the animal niche,
Okay.
but or niche, how you and Jevin like to debate it.
Niche,
um
whatever you want to
and
say.
and so we're kind of in between this, like all these types of content of animals, family vlog, homesteading. And so people, I just try to evolve and find, where does our channel fit in, and some people are going to hate you and some people are going to love you. And somewhere in there was a question about our gear, and remind me, okay, so how we do certain things. So that's another part, is that we like to film with the pigeons. Yeah, I don't show like a behind the scenes type stuff on that.
Yeah.
um One, it took a long time to develop, like to figure this out. It took me months last year to test and develop till I figured it out. And then I really didn't want to give away the secret. And then Insta360 discontinued this one. And I was like, oh, I guess I can talk about it now that people can't really get this. But then they brought out the 362.
Which
So
is even smaller, right?
it's probably about the same size or so, but probably way better quality. I haven't got to use it yet.
Corridor Digital did a version of did you see, do you know what Corridor Digital is?
No, what's that?
They're a filmmaking channel based in Hollywood, and they have a lot of VFX reviews and things. They're a big channel. They've been around forever. But they put the new 360 on a Falcon, and they did some footage on a Falcon, which was
Yeah, because
cool.
you can finally record, because this only records for a minute. I can get a minute and then it cuts off. So people always want to see more footage of the pigeons.
Sure.
But now
yeah.
I think the new one, I think you can set it for like 15 or 30 minutes or something. So
Yeah,
I think
that's
you
amazing.
can record a lot longer.
And I am saving some kind of bigger overarching questions about your channel and your story when your wife joins us.
Okay.
I just want to take this time to nerd out a little bit, but
Okay.
I do think that it's interesting that you're talking about the haters and stuff. And I think there's a lot to be said about that no matter what you do, when you put yourself on the internet, you're going to get hate. And when I was doing gear reviews every single week, I would see that constantly. Your microphone sucks, or why are you talking about it this way? The way you said it there was stupid. And how do you deal with that as a creator? And how have you developed? I mean, you just kind of have to have a thick skin, I guess, but there's probably some truth in certain types of criticism. So I don't want to like dismiss constructive criticism when it comes my way. How are you able to balance that? And is there anything that you could say to somebody starting out that's kind of, maybe discouraged by some of these negative comments that you can get sometimes on YouTube?
Yeah, I see a lot of new creators that it's the dislike button is like the first thing that hits them, where they're like, oh my gosh, I got my first dislike. Why would they dislike my video? They took time to watch it. I made it and they disliked it. And so that's the first thing you have to like get over with, is just, there's going to be people that watch every one of your videos and they're going to dislike every one of your videos. And that's just part of that. And that's no big deal, because at least they're interacting with your content. Then there's the people that leave the comments, as long as it's not vulgar or something about our kids or my wife or something like that. If it's about me, or then we can have a discussion. But if it's usually like about somebody else in the family, or it's just really mean spirited, then it's just really easy to block and get them out of the picture. So it's not something we have to deal with. Then there's people that go to the next level of contacting you, where they're sending emails or messages through Instagram or something, where they're making sure they're sending you something on all platforms to make sure you hear their message, whatever they have to say. Or we do open mail, and there's people that have sent hate letters through the mail when we'd open them in mail time or something like that. And we're like, wow, they really went to the next level to get a hold of us. So there's ones that they stick with you a little bit. There's some that I can still think of in my head, where somebody sent a letter about something we did, and I was like, why would you take the time to send that a letter? Like, just kind of blew me away. But usually it does help me think about things when I talk about them on a video. When something happens, we have animals, and when you have animals, you're going to have animals that get sick, that get hurt, that die. And so when we have an animal die in the video, we'll show that, and then some people will comment and they'll say, you know what, every time I watch your videos, an animal's dying. And it's not the case. It's like maybe 3 or 4 videos a year, but when they watch that kind of content, YouTube recommends the same kind of content. And so a lot of times they'll get recommended those other videos that are very similar to that. And so that's kind of the unfortunate thing about the way they'll watch our content. But, and then we get, so when I talk to them about, try to explain what happens in a video, I already now I have an understanding of what the viewer sees and how I'm going to edit it all together. And so I want to show all the steps I took to try to save an animal or to take care of them. And so we'll have people that will, so I have a better understanding of how they'll react when something happens. And so there are a lot of times that I edit out so much, like I usually, some of these videos are hatching videos, and this one I'm working on right now that I'm going to put out probably later today is one about our bees. And we've been working on it for a couple of weeks. And so it'll be 5-6 days of filming cut down to like 10-12 minutes. And so we edit out a lot of little details where they'll say, why didn't you do this? And I'll be like, I just cut it for time.
Yeah.
So those are things I have to think about when I edit out, is because I'm dealing with, say for bees, for example, I'm going to edit, I'm talking to the new beekeeper, but then I'm also talking to the experienced beekeeper. And so I have to try to meet them in the middle of like sharing enough info to where it lets the experienced beekeeper understand, like, okay, he knows what he's talking about, but then it's not over the head of the new beekeeper. So that's with any of our animals. It's like, you have to meet them in the middle. You've got to have enough content or enough talking points to try to help them understand. And if they really don't understand, sometimes they'll send a message, and if they send it nicely, just asking a question, then yes, of course, I'll talk to them about it. If I can already tell they're coming at a state of anger or something, sometimes I just don't even get into it, where I'm like, they just want to be upset. I had a debate with a lady a day or two ago about a video we shot last year. And at first I thought I could change her mind. And then after talking for a while back and forth, I was like, oh, she's not quitting. She's going until she convinces me of her point. And so we're just gonna have to agree to disagree on this. So yeah, the hate can be difficult, and it can stick with you. And I, for a long time, had a desire to respond to every message everywhere, because you want to keep everybody's attention and interest, and let them know that they're important to you. But it does get to you, the amount of negative feedback you'll get. And so at a certain point, you just have to, I'll respond to so many, and then I just got to walk away from it and say, there were a couple messages that just got a little too tough, and I just got to go move on to the next thing, because it's just holding me from creating something else.
Well, it's terrible, because here you are sitting at over 700,000 subs. So many creators would love to be at that stage. You're getting over 100,000 views consistently on all your videos. You've got some videos with millions of views, and you probably have, way more positive comments than negative ones, right? So it's easy as creators to focus on the negative ones. Hi.
Hi.
What's up? I'm Dave.
Hi.
Can you tell me what it was like let's go to the beginning of this whole thing for you guys. What made you guys want to do this channel in the first place? And I think it's so unique that you're doing it together, because there's so many creators out there that are married, and at least for me, I've tried to get my wife to get interested in YouTube, and she has no interest whatsoever. So what was it like for you guys? Did you just decide you wanted to start doing a farm on your own, and then a channel kind of came out of that? Or just take me to the beginning, going from the city to, a farm.
Yeah. Well, I grew up on a farm. So it was always my dream to go back to that, because we lived in the town for 10 years, and I really wanted to get back to getting out by ourselves, getting animals. So I was really excited about that. And so I kind of pushed it on to Jake and saying, this is what we need to do. So when we finally got to move to the farm, we got 6 chickens, and it's been such a long time since we took care of chickens.
Hi.
I was such a
Everybody's coming in.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, no worries. He's part of the channel as well.
Yeah.
So we just did some research on YouTube, really, and then we came across some family vlogs that was doing homesteading, and we're like, this is an awesome opportunity. So we really clung on to that and ran with that, really.
Yeah, so that was like in 2016 when we started renting on a farm. We got chickens, and then we started to look up like how to raise the chickens. And so we looked up these videos on how to raise chickens, and that's when we found family vlog on a farm, family vlogs that were homesteading. And then for about 6 months, we toyed with the idea of like, could we create content? I don't know, maybe we could. We filmed stuff, but we never edited it. And then it was like spring 2017, and that's when we finally decided to start putting stuff on YouTube. And it took us about it took us a little over a month or two just to get to like 10 subscribers. We didn't tell anybody, we didn't tell any family.
Sure.
And so then there's people all the time that'll be like, they're just starting and they want to know, how in the world do we get 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 subscribers? And when we started, we didn't tell any family. We wanted to see how YouTube works. And
you guys didn't have your own social medias really at the time either.
No, we hadn't anything really going yet on Instagram or Facebook or anything. And so, but then we started making connections. We started going to events. We started collaborating with people on videos. And that was probably the first big video that took off, was one that I made with like 4 other channels about duck breeds for your farm. And so we started figuring that out. Like, how can we get in front of other audiences? How can we meet other people and get connections in this community? And so we went to Homesteaders of America has a big conference, and we went to the first event in 2017. And so getting involved in your genre of like-minded people was really big for us. And then that led to like my first job with video, where after that first time we went to Homesteaders of America, they contacted us to film their future events.
Oh, wow.
And so they liked the video we made from their event. And so the last 2 or 3 years we've filmed at their event. And so that just helped lead to other opportunities. That was something initially we're trying to figure out, how do we make money with this thing, because monetization was so small at the beginning. So that's where we started looking for, how can we work with companies, with hatcheries are a big thing in our niche with chicks, and then events, things like that, where we could actually go and film and still be productive, but then make money with it along the way. And so that really helped supplement things until we were able to get the channel to support us more on its own.
Now, Becky, what was it like learning to be a performer on camera? Was that something that came natural to you? And
not at all. Still is hard. I don't know. It's weird.
Is it? Yeah. I always think it's funny when I get to see other YouTubers working. I don't know if you've ever like been around other YouTubers and you see how they film, and you see all the mistakes that they make.
Awkward. It's like watching them. It's like watching them get dressed or something. It's like so uncomfortable to see somebody else pop out a camera and start talking.
Yeah, because you see, like when you watch another creator's video, you see the edited version of it. But then when you actually see other people working, it's amazing how nobody is perfect. Like we're all, fumbling your words or like having to reshoot it. And I think,
I'm the worst.
Becky, you never fumble your words.
I'm the worst. Like, especially if he wants me to say a certain thing, I will not say it because
I'm
just focused on not.
But I think that's what makes
to go off the cuff.
That's what makes your content so relatable, though, is that you guys are just mostly going off the cuff, right? I mean, I would assume you might have a general premise or like an idea of what you're going after, but instead of just reading a script, you guys are really just kind of living life.
Yeah, I have a storyline that a lot of times in our videos, like a hatching video, say, we don't know how it's going to end, but I know the general direction that it needs to go in. And so I've got things that I need to update from time to time along the progress of the eggs, and or along a story where we were just filming this one with bees. And so initially they seemed to be dead. And so we were trying to figure out how can we revive these. And so in a lot of these storylines, we don't know how it's going to end, but I can keep like a mental image of the edit of, okay, here's the something. So it's not just chopped together footage from one day to the next, that it's finding ways to flow through it, and then to tell, give little bits of information. So it's somewhat educational, but it's not boring. And so that's where we try to mix in things throughout the way. But yeah, it's back when we tried to either force things more, or when she had to film more, because I used to, when I was working a job, now I'm just a lazy YouTube bum.
No way, man.
Back then I would be
work harder than most people.
So a lot of yeah, we do. I know. I would tell her, like, I need you to go do this and talk about this. And so then I'd watch back on the edit, watch the footage, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I keep going through, because she finally get the end, she'll get it right. And so I just have to skip over everything until she gets to the last time when I know she did it right. Yeah.
I'm sure now it's been several years. I hope, I'm sure you've advanced and gotten better, and same for Jake as well. What was that moment for you? I mean, you mentioned you had a job, and you were doing YouTube on the side. I think that's how almost everybody starts out. Obviously, I mean, it takes, if you're lucky, a year to start even bringing in any substantial income, if not for most people, 2 to 3 years before you can transition. What was that transition like, and at what point were you guys able to go full time into YouTube?
Well, I love to talk about this, because a lot of people will ask us in our niche, they'll ask us, how'd you grow from the beginning? And it's helped, because we worked our own business in the past, and so it helped us learn how to fail, because in YouTube there's so much failure. And so it's one thing treating it like a real job, because there's people that will say, when it makes more money, then I'll treat it like a job, or I'll work at it harder. And I think she's taking little guy for somewhere.
It's okay. What's his name?
So that's Isaiah.
Okay, Isaiah, he's so cute.
He's 2 years old. And so when I'm giving people advice, remembering back to when I started, we went all in. And so by that I mean I put YouTube first before any other career, any other job. I had other either part-time or somewhat full-time jobs that I pieced together to make like a full-time income. And so, but between all of those, we were posting 4 to 5 days a week. I was learning, I was getting into, I thought it was funny. I was listening to your last podcast was it Chris? And he was talking about, I started the way everybody did. I watched Casey vlogs and then Peter McKinnon stuff. And I'm like, yep, me too. And so you get obsessed with the really good creators. And so you learn how to fine tune your craft. But we that's how we treated it. We treated it like a full-time job that we were going to put time into. We tried to learn as fast as we could by making mistakes, because people are afraid to put out bad content. And at the beginning, we put out a lot of bad content because we didn't know how to tell a story. We didn't know how to film or edit. And so that's all you have to do, is just start to do it, make mistakes, but then treat it like a job where your goal is to get to the next stage. I mean, at the time you're like, man, is this ever going to work? Are we ever going to grow? Are we ever going to make money? I want it to move faster, and it's just, you got to have the patience for the algorithm. And
well, the fact that we are blessed in this like day and age to do what we love full time and get paid, and there's no barrier of entry other than the time and the amount of creativity that you can come up with. I mean, if you put yourself in that perspective, it's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, it was no time at all compared to like a previous a company that we ran by ourselves. That made little to no money in 5 years. So we just completely failed at one business, and then for this to make, within about a year we were making money, and then about a year and a half we got to a point where it was making more than most of my other jobs, to where we were able to.
But it took you that year of consistently uploading and treating it like a real job. And the same was true for me when I started my YouTube channel. We were posting twice a week, every single week, for about a year before anything really happened. But a couple videos would hit here and there, but that's the key for everybody on YouTube, is just to stay consistent. Becky, at what point did you guys decide to include your children, or was that always something that you wanted to include in the videos? Like, I know there's definitely some family vloggers out there who maybe keep that a more personal thing. You guys have included the children. Then also, did you guys get hit with the kind of adpocalypse thing with having kids in your videos and stuff? Do you know what I'm talking about?
We have always had the kids in the videos. I thought it was a good experience to show like us growing our own food, how we like explain that to them, how they kind of interact with the animals and stuff. They really like all that we do, really. So I really thought that was a good idea to include that and not shy away from it. So we've always done it from the very beginning and always had them as a part of it. So, but it's just been fun seeing them grow from the very beginning and going back to seeing the old videos and seeing like, like they were so small. And then going back to seeing like where they are right now. And hopefully they'll continue to want to be in the videos. We don't force them or anything like that. But when the kids thing happened, that was kind of a scary thing, just not knowing what to expect. Like, are they going to come after us? You know, there's we get a lot of hate every once in a while, but
what was that thing called? I think the US government cracked down on kid content on YouTube. Was that like 2 years ago now? Did you guys get hit by that at all, monetization wise?
They cut content, or it cut comments off on a lot of our videos, older videos. But since our content is not just for kids, so we don't have issues with that.
Yeah, you're not blippy, you know.
Yeah.
We did do a few things though. We took we had a few butchering videos on how-tos and stuff. We took that off. That was initially, we were thinking that's the kind of content we needed to do as homesteaders, was to show all the steps and the processes of growing our own food. And so part of that was having animals and then processing or butchering animals for our food. And that was another part of it with the adpocalypse stuff, was they cut back on what you could show as far as like animal births, and with animal butchering, you just couldn't show it and be monetized. And so we had to scale that back.
Yeah. Okay.
And then really through the process of us like hatching out emus and peacocks and some of our birds, then people saw our channel as more of a animal type channel instead of like a homesteading type channel. And so then it was confusing to them that like, oh, these guys, do they love their animals or do they want to kill their animals? And so that's where it became complicated, that we talk about it, but we don't really show a lot of that stuff. So
gotcha. I'm interrupting this podcast to briefly remind you guys to please subscribe to the Golden Hour Podcast. There's a lot of people who listen who aren't subscribers. At this point, if you've enjoyed the show, I guarantee you'll enjoy other shows as well. So hit the subscribe button and enable the bell notification on the Golden Hour Podcast YouTube channel. So what does it look like for you guys when you're starting your day and you're about to go shoot a video, or, you know, you're trying to plan content for the week? What's your process look like for your channel? Because it does seem very effortless when you watch it. It just seems really natural and fun, but there's obviously a lot of thought and time that goes into it. Tell me about your process of making videos together as a team.
Well, most of it doesn't start with like, all right, we're going to go film a video. Usually it's like there's something happening, got to grab the camera, and then this will be the start of something. I think I've got, because I have like, I'll save my content like in a daily folder, so I can go back through and find like specific things, or I keep like a specific topic that we're working on, because I know it's going to be a video just about this one thing, and then I'll save all the files in there. And so right now there's this one that I've been filming for like the last 2 weeks that'll come out sometime today, and then our next one, we've been filming a couple things throughout the week. And so we had chicks sent to us, and so we had to start filming with them. They send chicks through the mail, and so we started filming with them, and then we'll figure out how to tell that story. And then there's a hatching there's a couple hatching videos that are in the works where we've gotten the eggs and we may have put them into the incubator, or there's a bird that's sitting on them to hatch them out. And so all of those, I just keep them organized. And then I just try to film a little bit every couple days with each one to keep updating whatever's going on. And then when we get to about the week that it's like, it's go time for this video, okay, now we need to start working on tying in the full story of what have I done so far? What do I need to do to make this a complete video and not just like, here's this. How do I tell the story of this?
Yeah.
So there's about 3 or 4 videos that are in the works right now. And so it is fun when we can actually just go out and make a video sometimes, but it's almost like more complicated now to where I've just got to keep track of all these storylines going on. Because they do take a while to develop.
Has doing this channel made your marriage stronger, or has it introduced more challenges to your relationship?
Well, we used to film, we started daily, and then
that was challenging.
Yeah. Then she said, we can't keep doing this.
It was this overtaking our everything, just felt like we couldn't get away from anything.
Everything had to be filmed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I like to have my downtime and not have to almost put on a show. Like, oh, I'm happy now.
I think that's
those down days.
I think that's the downfall of a lot of the family vloggers, especially the ones that do the daily stuff. Because then, like, what are you actually going to this event for your kids, or are you doing it for the content? And so, I mean, how do you guys balance the like? Okay, we're on now, and then we're off. Now, don't pick up the camera. We're together as a family right now. Do you guys have?
Well, we're at a good spot where it's like usually it's about 1 video a week. Sometimes 2, sometimes less, but it makes it a lot easier because we're trying to, because we are a farm where we're trying to progress and build buildings and develop things, grow our garden, and so there's things we're trying to accomplish, build fencing that we don't. The fencing stuff is like we built a huge fence last year, and it was the biggest thing we did all year, but we didn't film any of it because it was just so boring. And so there's things that we just have to get done for the farm to keep progressing. But the end goal is like, once you get the fence done, then you can go get bigger animals to put inside the fence. And then that's more content. But for the time being, there's things that take us away. We're working on a greenhouse, and we've been working on it we started it a year ago, and we're still just trying to finish it up. And so I've been saving files for that in a folder, and we go work on it from time to time, but that's something that just whenever we have a little bit of spare time, we go work on that.
Yeah.
In between like our videos. So it's like we try to get stuff done. We have like the things that need to get done today. And then we have the bigger, like, let's work on the garden thing that may or may not get filmed. And then there's like the film content. Yeah. And so I just try to make sure that I do get out like a video a week. Yeah. So as long as I'm moving towards that, then we do have some days in there to just work on other stuff.
Typically in the morning, I'm like, okay, so what are we doing today? Like, because we homeschool our kids. And so I'm like, okay, so I have to work that schedule around there too. And he's like, okay, we need to film this. We need to get this done. I need to wrap this up. Or, it's work day just to get projects done, or you're free to do whatever you want. That's not very often, but we just kind of game plan every morning to see what we need to do and what we need to get done.
And I heard you talking, I think with Jevin about like sponsors, and I would probably disappear from YouTube for probably 2-3 weeks at a time just doing work, but then we have sponsors that'll come up and that'll motivate me to like, okay, we got to get this video done because there is a sponsor on it. Yeah. And so that's where we've got to balance things of like the sponsors and the videos help pay for all the projects we have on the farm. And really so far, that's where all our money's gone into, is when we get money from sponsors, we just turn right around and we put it into developing our farm. So that's where we just try to balance everything. We get videos done because of that, but then we're just always out there working. And so a lot of people will ask us like, I wish you made more videos, or, I wish you could post 2 or 3 times a week instead of just once. And we want to get stuff done. And And we also have to remember that it's a marathon and not a sprint.
Yeah.
And so we could make more money by posting more videos, but then it would put way more strain on us, and it would be much more difficult for us to accomplish anything, because when I'm making videos, we just aren't getting our projects done.
Do you shoot everything and edit everything yourself?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's things that we're at a place where I don't know if I could give up filming and editing. Kind of have a love-hate relationship with editing, because I love the end project, but I am so ADD with it that I have a really hard time. I think if I were to stay on top of it, I could get done in like 3 or 4 hours, but I take so long thinking through things, and the music's a big part of it. And so
oh yeah,
I need to like sit with a professional editor or something and see their workflow, because I just have such a weird workflow with it. And it's when I was a graphic designer out of college.
Okay.
And with graphic design, it's one of those things where you just never can be done with it. You feel like it's an unfinished project. And that's how I feel like with videos, where okay, I just nitpick little things, and I just one day edit will take I'm now on my 3rd day trying to get a video done. So
yeah, YouTube is great because there is kind of a little bit more leeway than I was a freelance director and video person for 10 years before I even started YouTube. And, when you're working with a client, it has to be a certain level of quality. But with YouTube, I found a lot of freedom in it, because you can kind of just be good enough with good enough, because you got to just move on to the next video, But
it's hard.
It's hard
to find that spot
when it's your baby.
Yeah, it's hard, because there's just like the things we're talking about, like making sure you answered all the questions for the viewer comments, and then you dealt with the sponsor appropriately, and then you told the story, and then the music is all the right music at the right time. And so there's so many things that all just have to be pulled together into this little 12-minute bundle of a video that just are way more than it should be. But you're right, there's no, the main thing is that there's times when I'm like, you can't make every video your best video.
Yeah.
But you just try to give it the best shot to, like, as far as like a viral type video, I always just look at every video as like, is this one that has a chance? Okay, I better make sure I come with it with the title and thumbnail, just to give it the best chance to get off to a good start.
Well, let's go to that. I mean, you've got several videos in the millions of views, which is amazing. Congratulations. But you did have one that was 7 months ago with over 10 million views. I Killed the Queen to Save the Hive. Killer title and thumbnail, for sure. But yeah, I mean, you've got some of these videos that, I mean, let's see. It looks like you got at least a dozen over 1 million, if not more. But pretty amazing. This most recent one, the Queen, I mean, what was that like? What happened? How, when you really analyze some of these videos that have over 1 million views, what is it that you find to be the common variable between them, if anything?
Thumbnails are very similar. If you look at like our top maybe 10 videos or so, I've started to learn just what does well with a thumbnail. And I'm still not good at it. But there's similarities that I've just learned with where I'm at in the thumbnail. If I'm the focus along with the animal or the bird or whatever, or the bee. And so learning that, plus titles are so frustrating. I think I heard you talking on another podcast about somebody that there's companies or people that just come up with titles. Were you talking about, Casey or somebody? We were talking about it with, they just have somebody that just comes up with titles.
Oh yeah, there's most high-end YouTubers have guys that their full-time job is editing thumbnails, and writers that come up with titles. And yeah, Casey Neistat, when he was doing daily vlogs, he had a full-time music person that was just finding music for each vlog.
And that makes sense, because I couldn't believe that he was putting out videos every day and he had new music at the time. And then now that he's doing it again, or he started last year, and he just was using the same little bit of music, I was like, that now makes sense. It does. It just takes me hours to find all the music I need. And I haven't seen many people that have a videographer, but I've seen people that are developing a team because they have, as their farm grows, the chores grow, more animals have to be taken care of. So those are all things for us to consider. As far as like the filming and editing, I've seen a few bigger channels in our niche that have tried to have somebody edit, and some of them have stuck with it. Some of them felt like it took away the personality a little bit, or they weren't able to keep to the storyline that they wanted. And so I kind of saw their struggles with it. So I was able to say, yeah, I'm not going to try that quite yet.
And it's so personal too, because your kids are involved. So it's not just like, you know, in my case, I was just reviewing gear, and we had basically a formula and a script. So it was easy to kind of hand it off to someone else. But I could see when you're incorporating your family, it just has such a more personal touch to it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, these are family videos that I love to go back and look at. We watch our birthday videos when a kid has a birthday, and some days we'll just sit there and watch a bunch of them. And so if somebody else had their hand in it and put it together and didn't have the vision that I had for it, it'd be really tough. So that'd be a really hard thing for me to give up. Although that's probably, the edit is probably the most stressful part for me, just to bring it all together. So
I'm kind of picking up that, like, Becky, you were raised on a farm. You love farming. You love the outdoors. You love family. Jake is a technical guy, loves editing and creating stuff. Is that essentially the dynamic? Am I getting that right? Like, do you edit or shoot as well, Becky?
Well, if he asked me to. It's not like I grab the camera. I'm gonna go do this today. He gives me the camera and says, I need you to do this. Or he hands me the camera and says, I need you to go do, you know, he gives me a job. It's not me.
So it's a great partnership, because one helps the other. And it seems like whether YouTube existed or not, you two would still probably be farming, because it's something that you're both passionate about. But how does that play into it? The fact that you do have a successful YouTube channel now, there is this kind of incentive to have certain animals or do certain things that you know will perform well. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've done that. I do that all the time for my videos, is finding topics that I know people are interested in. That, you know, how do you balance that? Doing what you personally want to do, but also, you know, coming up with things to talk about that the audience will respond to.
Yeah, for a long time, we thought we had to get a new animal to create new interest in our channel. And so at first that was like, because I didn't know how to tell a story. And so there's a built-in story when you get a new animal. And so it was something easy to do. And then after a certain period of time, or once I started figuring out storytelling and how to put together a video that was interesting from the beginning to the end, I realized we have more than enough animals. We do want more, but it's more for us and our enjoyment to have horses and some other animals on the property. But we've got a lot of the animals that we need to create content now. People love these animals. They've got, you know, they've got names, and people start to understand their personalities. We have Bamboo as our emu. He's got his own Instagram page. And so he's got a built-in personality that people already know about and love. And then, but then as far as creating content that people would be interested in, there's certain stories or certain things that I know will do well on our channel. Anything really bird related, animal related is going to do well. And then when I want to make something more about like our garden, I know it's going to struggle more, just because our audience is more into our animals. And so that's where I've got to, there's certain things that I'll either just have to do separate of our video content, because I know it won't do well, or I just got to say, you know what, this video may or may not do great, but I do want to put this out when we finish our greenhouse. Like, the video may struggle, but I do want to show people the progress we made, because it'll be really cool. So those are the things that we understand what'll do well and what won't do well. But learning to tell a story has been the biggest thing. So we didn't just have to keep buying animals, because that was the balance for a long time, was like, well, we just need to go get something new because our channel's seeing a little bit of a decline. And so once we learned how to do stuff, and then like the bees, for a long time, I was a bird channel, because we were renting on a farm. And so we were a bird channel. We had a lot of chickens, ducks, turkeys. We got pheasants and mandarin ducks. And then we started hatching out our emus. And So we were just all birds because we only had a limited space. And then 2 years ago, we moved to our farm now that has lots of space, and it's our own. And so we can get whatever we need to here. And so we got into cows. We got a milk cow, and then we got pigs. We've got a dog. And so we were able to start branching out to other types of content. And then bees became something that was not something I expected to do well, but it's done well for us. A balance between like the bee experts, the beekeepers, and people that are new to bees, because a lot of people that watch our channel are just interested in farming content, even though they don't do it themselves. And so that was just trying to find what are people interested in and what would they enjoy watching.
I would imagine there's a lot of people interested in the content because it's a fascinating thing, but nobody wants to do all the work. So that makes sense to me why there's so many people that are interested but will never do it.
Well,
I'm one of those people.
I think people enjoy it because we show all the fun stuff, and a lot of times we don't show all the work, the behind the scenes that gets us to where we just the daily. We do chores every morning, takes an hour or two every morning of getting the animals out or feeding them and hauling water and milking the cow, and a lot of those things we just do every day. And we may show like a 15-second, usually our intro every day of our video is like 15 seconds of our like 2-hour chores. And so that's where we'll show a little bit of the bigger work, but then the bulk of our video is more of the fun stuff. And so that's why I think people watch it and then they message me saying, someday I want to grow up and have a farm just like you. But that's the balance of like, we're trying to entertain them.
Yeah.
But I think some people do have an unrealistic expectation of a farm because it is harder work than we show.
Becky, what's the point of the farm? Like, obviously you guys have this YouTube channel, but is there some sort of like underlying message that you're trying to get out? Or like, are you guys genuinely wanting to be self-sustaining? You know, are you selling these animals and the food and stuff? Like, what's the actual point of doing it?
We're not really selling anything. We have lots of eggs, overabundance of eggs. So we sell a lot of those, and then we have a little bit of milk that we have left over that I sell to, just friends and stuff. But the main purpose of it is to just provide food and stuff for us, really. The milk cow, we got that right when the virus hit, so we didn't have to go to the grocery store. There was no milk there. And
That's
we're
cool.
like, this will solve a lot of our issues. I can make cheese, yogurt, we'll have milk. And so we thought that was a good solution. And so, and it was been really good. So a lot of work, definitely a lot of work though.
So basically it's like you're getting back to the roots of like early America, and like just humans in general have always lived off of the land. And it's only been in the last 100 years or so that we go to the grocery store to buy food. Is that really the message? Is that almost anybody, like, yes, you have commercial farmers who make money and build a business on commercial farming, but is that what you guys are trying to show? Is that even if you're a family living on an acre of land, you could, sustain a farm for your family?
Yeah, our end goal is just to grow our own food and then to develop our property so we can do everything we need to do here. And then we just are able, because of this day and age, we're able to film it and share it with people for the monetization aspect of it. But if we didn't have YouTube and we weren't making money from it, we would still be doing this lifestyle. We just wouldn't be able to share it with everyone else and help promote it. But we still love this. We still love this lifestyle, and we do love that it's simpler than the way we were going when we lived in the city and we were working jobs, and it's just a totally different type of life. It's
amazing, really, because you are 100% self-sustaining. You make your own food, you teach your own kids education, and you make your own money on the internet. Like it's kind of a crazy thing that you guys don't rely on anybody.
Yeah.
Do you have solar panels on your roof?
Well, we're starting to get solar. We have solar on our cow barn.
Get off the grid.
Yeah, we have solar on our chicken coop.
We've talked about that.
We have a mobile home. We have a mobile home here, and so the eventual goal is to build a house and then to have it all be solar, to have well water for water, and then so I mean, the goal is to be off grid at some point, so we don't have to rely on anybody.
Gonna get a Tesla too?
Well, probably the Tesla batteries are looking pretty good for running the solar in your house, but we'll see. I don't know if I can. If they make I know he's making the truck, but
the Cybertruck.
If he can make a bigger farm type truck, then maybe we can.
SUV or something.
Yeah, we need big vehicles.
I would love to see a Cybertruck rolling around in your on your farm. That'd be hilarious. That would honestly, that would probably help your channel. To be fair. So I mean, what are some of the struggles that you guys like? If you could go back and change something about this journey over the last 4 years on YouTube that you could share with our audience. We have a lot of up and coming YouTubers that listen to this show. And it sounds to me like, Jake, you're a fan of the show. I appreciate that. Thank you for listening to so many episodes.
It's good. You got some good guests. I mean, Sarah Dici, she brings the fire, and Jeff Dovey, and then in the farming community, Josh Satin, and then looking back on some of your old stuff. I mean, not even that old, but to have remind me his name, Logan's editor.
Yeah, Hayden Hillier Smith.
Hayden is he's hot right now on YouTube.
Man, yeah.
And then some of your old ones like Chris Howe on there, and Jesse Driftwood, and man, you've had some amazing guests. So
I'm trying to branch out and get more creators that aren't just like filmmaker related, because everybody you listed is like in that niche. So, but yeah, I mean, what are some of the mistakes that you guys have made along the way that you could kind of cautionary tales, if you will, to share with other people coming up?
First thing I had to overcome was music. Music's a huge part of our channel, and right off the bat I thought I could use any music I wanted, and so I started throwing popular songs on my first couple videos, and then they all got flagged for monetization. And I was like, I can't use just popular songs, okay. And then we found Epidemic Sound, and so that's been just a game changer for us to find some type of music service. And then learning to tell a story is what changed everything. Trying to figure out who we were as a channel, what makes us different than other people was really big. But learning to tell a story, because I look back at our first year of videos and I thought I was doing really good. I was editing them decently, but there's no story. It's like, here's just everything we did through the day, and then day over. And then there was nothing to keep you coming back, or that it was just like, here's this, and then that's that. And so once I figured out, like, just watching a lot of videos is, breaking down other people's content as far as what's good about it. Why is it good? Some people, like Casey's, kind of unrelatable because he's lived such a weird life.
Yeah, he's an eccentric person in general. So
you can't go like fly these $20,000 plane rides that he gets to fly, but how can I bring something interesting to my life? And that's when I think things changed, was that I started looking at other people's channels, and I told a couple friends, like, if I was your channel and I was living life on the road in an RV, these are kind of videos that I would make, that I would talk about. And then I thought about what makes us interesting. And so we did a lot of things just being scrappy along the way with like collaborations and going to events. But then once we figured out what made us unique, and we made a video called What It's Like to Live with 85 Chickens. And we talked all about our chickens from start to finish, and it's done really well for us. But that's when things started clicking, was when I figured out what makes us unique and how can I share that. And so even though our videos aren't focused on our family, it's more about the animals. We try to sprinkle little bits about our family in every video, so that people have more to take away from a video than just, I wanted to come here to learn about this animal, but I really like this family. So it's like trying to just give them a little bit more about us, but never make us the focus. So we're just like the icing on top of, like, we're just going to give you little bits and pieces. And so just that whole leave them wanting more kind of thing.
And a lot of that stuff that you're talking about are things that just takes time to get to that point, to even be aware of all of that. And so I think the thing that stands out to me about you guys is, at the very beginning, you guys remained consistent. You said you were posting 3 times a week. And yeah, just remaining consistent allows
just
you
make
to
content. Yeah, just make content. You're going to make mistakes. Just go film and learn how to edit, and then start to analyze, be able to self-analyze your content to realize what's good and what's bad, and how can I fix it, and then how can I make it interesting so there's nobody else like it on YouTube. How can I be different?
And Becky, I would love to hear your perspective on the relationship between you and Jake. You're obviously happily married with children. How do you balance this crazy, like, self-employed YouTuber lifestyle with actually having a successful relationship between one another?
Well, I have to be very flexible. I kind of go with the flow. If something needs to be done and he needs something done, I right there, I kind of drop what I do and do it. And I don't know, this is the way, I don't know.
Well, like with homeschooling, she's able to do it when, like right now she can do it, but then, hey, we need to go do this thing for a video, or we need to go work on the greenhouse or work with the bees. She can step away and the kids can come help.
Yeah.
And then they can go back to work when that's done. And so that's
great.
Where we're able to do that, but keep on going. What about else?
Do you guys have date nights?
Not really.
I wish. We don't leave the house very often.
It's hard. We just had to take a trip, and this was our first trip away since we've had a milk cow. And so we were really trying hard to find a part-time employee, somebody that could help take care of the farm, but we just haven't been able to find it.
Yeah.
So we had to have some friends come and help milk the cow and stuff. And so we had to get them trained up to do it for a couple of days,
and we got a lot of animals, so it takes a while to kind of, and you could only trust a few people, because some of the animals are pretty exotic and you don't want them just getting out and flying around. And we have lost a few. So it's like, you got to be really careful.
That's true.
What you're doing.
It's not like just having kids and hiring a babysitter. You can't just leave the house. That's crazy. I didn't even think of that.
But yeah, day nights should probably happen more. We talk about it, but
you could do it in the house. You can just make a little,
the blessing is
picnic.
that I'm here. The blessing is that I'm here, because before going farm work and YouTube, I was working like 4 jobs from like 6 a.m. to midnight. And so I was never home. And so being able to do this, now I'm here, we're present with our kids and with each other. So
yeah, in our first year, one of our oldest went to school. And so we were both home and he went to school. And so it was really awkward. We waited till he got home for school to do things. And so we were like, well, we just need a homeschool just to have the kids here. And so we can, do things as a family. So it's nice that we can just drop anything we need to do and just go and do it, or we'll do it as a family. So that's really helps out that he's here, the kids are here, and we all kind of do things all together. Family.
Totally.
What about you? How do you date your wife while you're with your life?
Editors. I've got 3 editors now, so I don't edit anything. So that's why I was trying to harp on it for you, because I think it's one of the biggest game changers for me. Is like, once this podcast is over, I'm going to pass this off to my editor. He's going to do it. So I don't have to think about this podcast ever again. That allows me to be done at 6:00 and be home and be present with my wife. And then moving from LA to Nashville has changed our marriage completely, because my parents live here. And so they are able to help babysit the kids. And I don't have emus and exotic animals. So all I need is somebody to just watch the kids for a couple hours. And, I don't know. I think as men, we see marriage as like the end goal. You pursue your girlfriend to become your fiance. And then once you get married, it's like, all right, cool. I'm done. I'm going to get fat and like start, my career. But at least in my case, my wife was kind of like, all right, we're married now. Now let's begin building this relationship. And I lost sight of that and got too obsessed with the career. And so, I was making good money and was hosting this big channel in LA, but got an opportunity to move back home here to Nashville and have a little bit slower, healthier life. And I'm glad I'd made the move because it's made our marriage stronger. And I would just, encourage you guys to pursue one another and set aside time to have little date nights. Maybe if it's just a picnic in the backyard, it can really just help. You got to remember, like, why wait a minute, why are we here? Why are we together? What's the actual point of life? You know, it's important to kind of remember that. And I've taken a break from YouTube for the last 3 months, other than this podcast. But I'm excited to get back into it, starting another channel. But anyways,
I would say that we do try to enjoy it, but that's, people see our videos and they go, man, I would love to live this life. And so we have to remind ourselves, like, we need to take some days to enjoy our pond and our fire pit and things. So we aren't just caught up in achieving things or completing projects, that we do enjoy this life that we share online.
100%. Yeah. I think when you're in it, especially with YouTube, it's kind of like it's never ending, and you're always looking at the analytics and like, what's the view count on that? What's the retention rate on that? You know, it's kind of like, even though the video's uploaded, it's not over yet. You still have to answer comments, and, you know, you want to get the data from it. But, you know, I think it's also important to be like, all right, it's uploaded. I'm done for the day. Let's chill and, you know, do whatever. But
that's where it'd be nice if it was like a TV show where you could have like a season, and then you could have like a time off part of the year. Would be huge if we were able to do that, and the algorithm would still be pleased enough. That's the only thing, is you just have to keep feeding the algorithm. But if there was a way to do it and to have like an actual season and be able to get a break, it would be huge.
I am friends with iJustine. She's a pretty big tech YouTuber, and but she'll shoot, I think she told me she'll shoot like 4 or 5 videos in like 2 or 3 days. And then basically for the rest of the month, like, her and the editor will their job is just to edit those 4 videos. And obviously it's a different niche altogether, but if there are ways to stack videos, obviously stuff like that. I mean, it sounds like you've been shooting a video for the last couple of weeks, and, you know, you're already doing that. But, you know, if there's ways to get smart about, you know, maybe doing like a throwaway video where you're just doing like a listicle kind of thing, like 10 things to know when you're starting your beehive, you know, and then it's just something you could literally do in an hour or 2 and just put it out there, give you an extra piece of content, and it gives you kind of a little break for the week, because it's like, oh, I uploaded a video. And honestly,
I wish there was a way. I just don't know with my kind of content. I wish there was a way to do that. I get jealous that you were talking about on one of your other podcasts about that you love the reaction channels. That's what I'm built. That's what I'm going to build now. And a couple other ones. Drew Gooden or something like that. Yeah, I love those guys too. They're great, and I love that they're hilarious. When you're able to sit at a camera and react to something, talk about something, and be funny. Cody Co. Those kind of guys. Yeah, totally. Man, that would be the dream, because then you could absolutely do multiple ones a day and hire out editors too. Yeah. But it's just, I don't know how, if I got to a point where I could do a more, I don't know if I'd want to do a podcast, but if there was some way to sit and to batch film, to talk about things here and there, to fill the void here and there, that'd be great. I just don't know if I could get the views on it that we do with our other content. I don't know. I don't know. I would encourage you guys to look for an editor or something and just give it a try. I mean, it's not as expensive as you think either, to be honest. So give it a try. Yeah, it's not the price. It'd be more of the, I just feel like I'd be micromanaging them or something, like, well, just let me do it. Yeah, I mean, but it'd be interesting to try it once or twice just to see how it would turn out. That happened to me too. And you learn to let go. And then also sometimes you might be surprised, like especially if you hire a good person, they may be better than you, to be honest. You have to accept that there's editors who are better than you potentially out there. If you find somebody that is better, then your content's going to be better for it, so. Yeah. If they can be better than me, then yes, I would be extremely happy. And I know that they are probably more skilled and they're probably much faster. I guess it's just bringing what's in my mind to the screen would be the challenge, I think. Well, in my conversation with Hayden, Logan Paul's editor, like that's what he says. It's just, you can't take a filmmaking based editor and throw him in YouTube. It's a completely different genre that you have to relearn. So it does take time to train somebody up, but I think it would be worth it for you guys, because then you could potentially have some extra free time. So I don't know. Pretty amazing because of how I didn't realize he was with them until hearing your talk with them, that they had been together since Logan started on YouTube. Yeah. I thought he came along the way. And so that's just amazing that they.
No, yeah, he was part of the daily
been along that
vlog.
long.
He did all the daily vlogs back in the day too. So yeah. Which also means he was the one who edited that awful video that went viral. But
yeah, I saw him. He had to talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
you exposed a lot of stuff about him and that stuff I'd never heard. So that was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we didn't expose too much on you guys. Well, it was a real pleasure talking to you guys. We could probably talk for another 2 hours, and I would love to have brought my wife in here so that you guys, Becky, you and Laura could relate on the YouTuber husband lifestyle.
Hey, you've done 4 with Jevin, so you can always we can always do a part 2 sometime
Let's do it.
down the road.
Oh, absolutely. And maybe we'll just come visit you guys and we could do it in person. That'd be fun.
Put you to work.
Oh, heck yeah. I'm excited. Put me to work. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Everybody go check out White House on the Hill on YouTube. We'll get you guys up to 800,000 and hopefully 1 million before you know it. Get that, was it a gold play button? Is that right?
Sure, yeah. We got our silver one in our chicken coop, so our chickens poop on it.
Oh, that's perfect. It's a really great metaphor there of what's important in life. Jake, Becky, thank you so much for coming on the show, and it was a real pleasure meeting you in person. And thank you, Jake, for being a fan of the show.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dave.
I hope you guys enjoyed my conversation with Jake and Becky. It was a real pleasure for me to get to know them over this conversation and hear more about, again, another farming niche creator. It's fascinating to me how many people are interested in it. I mean, it makes sense. It's something that I'm fascinated in, and I'm never going to start my own farm, that's for sure. It's really cool to see the numbers that they've been able to achieve on there as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, if you're a fan of this video, you'll definitely be a fan of my other interview with Josh Satin, another farm creator, and also Sarah Dici, a podcast that Jake mentioned a couple times in this interview. All right, once again, I'm your host, Dave Mays. This is the Golden Hour Podcast, and we'll see you next week.